What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 181 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. Really, can you do me a favor and get 2 friends to listen to this episode and then chat about it with them? If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we get back, we'll get into this episode entitled The Best Version of Yourself. Welcome back to episode 181 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled The Best Version of Yourself. I want to give a big welcome to my friends in recovery from the U.S., South Africa, and Australia for their participation in this group. As before, I'll be keeping them anonymous, but I'll be saying their answers as if we're having a live group meeting. And guys, I want to introduce a new member of the group to you. His name is Freddie, and he's from the USA. Freddie, no pressure. Since this is your first time, you can listen to everyone else, and at the end, if you want to share, that'll be a great way to close this out. Okay, guys, you ready for today? People say we all have 3 versions of ourselves. The first being the person you think you are. Second, the person other people see. And third, the person you really are. So, what does it mean to be the best version of yourself? And how do you live that out or walk in it? Ben, you want to start us today? Sure, David. I think the best version of me is to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and that my cup is full and I'm not trying to give something to other people from an empty cup. I mean, that would be insane, right? How can I give something to somebody else if I'm depleted? I think it's important to be able to take time away. Jesus comes to mind. Heck, he was the Son of God and he still broke away for days, maybe even weeks at a time, would go hike up a mountain and be by himself to get refilled by his Father in heaven. Then and only then would he go back down the mountain to the people and give to them what he received from his Father. I can't think of anybody better to live my life in tandem with than Jesus. If I think I can keep going without taking time to go to the mountain, whatever my mountain might look like, get refilled and then go back to the people, then I'm crazy. Nobody really can do anything, whether it's ministry, business, marriage, parenting, or whatever, from a place of burnout. So I think the best version of me is someone who's doing all the things that I'm blessed to get to do, but from a place of rest and fullness rather than a place of burnout and emptiness. It's at that point I can actually help people, and if they don't want to receive the help, then I'm fine, because I'm doing it from a place of rest. Great start, Ben. I think it's so important for all of us to have that mountain time or mountaintop experience where we can just rest and get refreshed so that we do have a full cup to give from. Charlie, what do you think of this topic for today? Well, David, the best version of myself is a tough topic, especially for me right now, as I'm in a mental struggle since being put down and judged by my pastor. However, the best version of myself has always been who my grandmother raised me to be. I'm proud of those values she taught me growing up: kindness, compassion, taking care of others, and to do so like it's a pleasure, a privilege. And what God intended is always my baseline when I'm checking myself before I wreck myself. I'd be lying if I said what others thought of me didn't matter, but I'm doing my best when I don't let that bother me. It's been tough in recovery because we're supposed to change, right? But I believe in those values my grandmother taught me. And I care about people, and I never want to lose that value of thinking and seeing the value of the next person and thinking of them first and giving someone else a chance before I get to go. So, David, I'd just say the best version of myself is sticking true to the perfectly imperfect man that God made me to be raised by my grandmother, who is a saint. Awesome, Charlie. I think it's so important to have a legacy like you have from your grandmother, that she instilled those values in you that are still at the core of who you are today in the best version of yourself. Eddie, would you like to pick up here? Sure, David. I read a statement recently that says, "When I walk through any door, I enter as myself." Pshaw. I think that's easier said than done, although I hope that I do sometimes enter as myself. I would like to think that the best version of myself is someone who's honest, humble, loving, caring, loyal, and fun. I am living through a stage in my life where I refuse to live up to other people's expectations. If I have a tiptoe around people, then I'm not walking in my tribe. So I'm leaning towards people who allow me to be me, where we are all comfortable in each other's company. And that type of lifestyle has allowed me, or made it so much easier to be the best version of myself. I can then be real. That makes it easier to relate, to share, to be emotional, to confide, to trust, to support, to testify. We start understanding who we are to each other and making it easier to be ourselves in each other's company. Once I can be who I am around others, I can then live and walk freely as me. So true, Eddie. And I think you just continued Charlie's theme of really listing some of the core values. And I like yours: honesty, humble, loving, caring, loyal, and fun. Dante, what do you think of this question? Well, the person I think I am, the man, I really don't think I'm that good of a person. If I sit around and measure all the things I thought about and done, and then I try to measure my goodness up to other people, it's easy to find how good I can be in some ways and how awful I can be in other ways. And the person other people see, oh man, depending on where my head's at that day, that can give me all kinds of anxiety. I do typically think and hope for the best, but it's hard to know where people stand. And the people pleaser in me wants people to like me. So I go for surface level validation rather than deep conviction, and holding out my confidence in what I truly believe. If I strive for surface level validation, people do not see the real me. They see a fractured version of me. The person that I really am, I think that's when I spend time loving and caring for others, spending time with God in His Word, in prayer, in nature, or just simply being quiet and enjoying His presence. And then the motivation that flows out of a kindled relationship with the living God that produces a man who is kind, confident, loving, courageous, and unwavering, and can be somewhat charming and kind of funny sometimes too. I think the best version of myself, I truly do have to live life in service to others, and also acknowledge some of the simple wants and desires that I have. And I think sticking to the simple wants and desires and making those your chief fame, along with service to others, leads to a very fulfilling life. Surrounding yourself with other men who you want to be like, and spend time giving to others to whom you can receive nothing. Good word there, Dante, and I want to repeat your last line, that you surround yourself with other men who you want to be like, and spend time giving to others to whom you can receive nothing. I think that's a powerful version of yourself. Harry, you want to pick up now? David, in the beginning of my recovery, I did display different versions of myself. One was the embarrassed addict who always wanted to hide away from society. Number 2 was the new person in Christ. And third was the person who was still in pain and trying to believe that I have been forgiven by God and have received a second chance at life. I started living in faith and trusting the Lord for my healing and restoration. I was told I must live in victory. I'm a new creation, a new virgin in Christ, and all condemnation, guilt, and worry will fall away. Well, I needed to show people the goodness of God in my life and all that He's done for me. Restoration of my mind, family, employment, finances, and my soul. Living the best version of myself meant turning away from the old bad version and people, just turning away from that in my life and holding on to the new life with God's promises revealed in my answered prayers. Living the new version of yourself is extremely hard at first, with all the temptation that comes with it. I'm still a sinner, and I pray daily for forgiveness. I'm thankful that the new version of me can stay away from my addictions, but I still sin daily with anger issues, with bad drivers, or other things that might upset me, and continue to pray and ask the Lord for help in those areas. I now live the best version of myself, trying to show the goodness of God, and pray that God helps me out of some of the bad traits that I may not have overcome as yet. So true, Harry. I think it's so important that as we leave the old behind, we realize that there's still some old habits or old bad traits that we haven't overcome with or we haven't been able to work through. But that still doesn't stop us from being the best version of who we can be today. Okay, Freddie, welcome again to join the group. Do you have something to share today? Well, David, and I want to thank you for inviting me to be part of the group. And guys, I just want to say great to be here. And I'll introduce myself a bit in this answer. I see myself as someone who is grateful, gracious, helpful, down to earth, authentic, creative, intelligent, sometimes humorous, self-deprecating, and patient. I can color outside the lines, and am on the quirky side. I can be easily distracted and impulsive. I've been clinically diagnosed with depression, anxiety, OCD tendencies, and I'm quite excessive. I'm also a hypochondriac, sometimes overly sensitive, needy, insecure, and forgetful. But that's a lot of stuff. I think the key is my definition of being my best self version of myself and how I live it would be being happy in my own skin and willing to learn and give to others. Being your best self means living authentically. To be your best self, you need to stay true to yourself and your values. You also need to make sure you're doing what brings you a sense of happiness, purpose, and meaning. Wow. Great words there, Freddie, and great way to close us off. I agree with you that being your best self means living authentically, staying true to yourself and your values. Thanks, guys, for a great group session today. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you were saying, that's me as you listened, if you're saying, how do I find my best version of myself and live it out, then it's time now to reach out and join a group. Message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website, www.fromatod.org, and click on the contact page. You might also have some follow-up questions you want to ask any of the guys in the group, so feel free to just send me what question you have for them, and I'll get it passed on to them. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay strong.